Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am the EE Guru, and today we'll be talking about series and parallel circuits. Before we dive into the formal definition of series and parallel circuit, it's important to note that the behavior of current within a series circuit is completely different than the behavior of current within a parallel circuit. And this difference is what differentiates a series circuit from a parallel circuit. So what we have in front of us right now is a series circuit. So we have our voltage source in series with the three resistors R1, R2, and R3. And what happens is that current flows from the positive terminal of our voltage source, in this case the battery, and into the three components or into the components of the circuit. So in this case, current's going to flow from the positive terminal of the voltage source into R1, then it's going to flow into R2, then into R3, then back into the negative terminal of the voltage source, in this case the battery. Something important to note is that all of the current that is flowing from the voltage source is the same throughout the entire circuit. So I max, the entire current that is flowing from the voltage source, is the same current that is flowing through R1, R2, and R3. And I know this is a trivial point that the current is the same throughout the entire circuit, but this is very different when you're comparing this to a parallel circuit. With a parallel circuit, the current that is flowing through the circuit may not always be the same everywhere on the circuit. And we'll talk more about this later on when we're talking about parallel circuits. So previously I mentioned that current flows from the positive terminal of the voltage source into the negative terminal of the voltage source. And this idea of current flowing from the positive terminal into the negative terminal is called conventional current flow. But actually, in reality, the electrons or the current flows from the negative terminal into the positive terminal. But for the sake of my videos, I'm going to stick to the conventional current flow because that is what is taught at universities and in textbooks. So what we're currently looking at right now is a parallel circuit. Something important to note about this parallel circuit is that we have nodes. And specifically, we have two nodes, node 1 and node 2. So a node is a point where multiple branches are connected. So if you take a look at node 1, we are connected to the positive terminal of the voltage source. We are also connected to R1, which is our resistor. And then we're connected to this other part of the circuit, which we can consider this to be like a wire. So we have three branches connected to this node. And what happens is current flows from the positive terminal of our voltage source, and then it flows into our node. And what happens at the node is something interesting happens. The current divides. So we have a part of the current that flows down into R1, and we'll consider this current to be I1. And then we have a part of the current that flows to the right side of the circuit, which we'll consider this current I2. And this is the difference between a parallel circuit and a series circuit. And that difference is that we have the division of current, or current division. In my later videos, I will talk more about current division, but for right now, it's not too important. All you just need to know is that with current division, current divides at a node. So you have a little bit of current going through one branch and a little bit of current going through the other branch. And this is the concept of current division. And if we take a look at this parallel circuit again, we see that I2 flows into a node. And what happens is I2 will also divide again. So some of the I2 current will flow into R2, and we will call this current I3. And some of the I2 current will flow into R3, and we'll call this current I4. And something important that you should note is that I1, I2, I3, and I4 do not necessarily have to be the same. They can be different. And this is something that is different in the series circuit compared to a parallel circuit. Because with a series circuit, the current that is flowing throughout the entire circuit is the same. But with a parallel circuit, the current that is flowing throughout the circuits, they can possibly be different.